I want you to really picture yourself in this scenario. You've played this moment out 1,000 times in your head, right? You've trained for months. You're hitting the heavy bag day in and day out. You're doing the light sparring. In your mind, you know exactly what to do. But then it happens. The absolute second a real confrontation begins, the second someone actually throws a live punch at you, your brain just goes completely blank. Suddenly, your hands feel like they weigh 100 pounds. Your feet glued to the floor. You don't attack, you don't defend, you just freeze.
So, the big question we've got to ask here is, why do we freeze when that very first punch is thrown? Where does all that preparation go? Now, a lot of people, when they see this happen or experience it themselves, they immediately jump to a super harsh conclusion. They label that paralyzing reaction as fear or even cowardice. They just assume the person doesn't have what it takes. But the neuroscience actually tells a completely different story. What's going on inside your brain is way more fascinating than just being scared. And honestly, once you understand this, you'll never look at fighting or human reaction in general the same way again.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what's going on. Your brain really only has one primary job, and newsflash, it is not to help you win a boxing match or look tough on the street. Its job is to keep you alive. Period. Millions of years before boxing gyms even existed, early humans had to react instantly to mortal danger. There was zero time to think. So when your brain detects sudden violence, 99% of its processing priority is just screaming, "Am I about to die?" leaving maybe 1 measly percent to wonder if you should throw a jab. That massive difference in priorities, it changes absolutely everything about how your body responds.
This completely reframes something we've all heard a million times. We all know the classic survival mechanism, fight or flight. But neuroscience shows us there is a third, equally valid response, and that is freeze. Now, why on earth would freezing be a good survival tactic? Well, out in the wild, movement attracts attention. If a predator is scanning the area, sudden movement literally equals death. So for millions of years, sometimes doing absolutely nothing was actually your best bet for survival. Your brain is basically hitting the ultimate emergency pause button just to avoid detection.
And hey, if you thought the freeze response was just for the untrained or the weak, think again. Animals rely on it constantly in the wild. Highly trained soldiers in combat zones experience it. Police officers experience it. And yes, even professional fighters experience it, especially early on in their careers before they've adapted. I really want to drive this point home. Freezing is not a sign of weakness. It's definitely not a character flaw. It is absolute biological proof that your nervous system is working perfectly. It's doing exactly what millions of years of evolution designed it to do when under extreme pressure.
Section 1. Practice versus real threats. So, let's talk about why all those months of throwing picture-perfect combos in the safety of the gym don't always translate to a real-world confrontation. You can look absolutely flawless hitting a heavy bag and still freeze up entirely against a live opponent. Why is that? Well, because your brain is incredibly smart and it clearly separates practice from a genuine threat. Think about it. A heavy bag never punches back, right? It doesn't stare you down, and it's completely silent. A real opponent, on the other hand, aggressively invades your personal space. They scream, they move erratically, they represent a totally unpredictable physical threat. Your nervous system clocks that difference instantly. And that is exactly why someone can look like an absolute champion in training, but completely shut down when their nervous system flips that switch under pressure.
Section 2. The tunnel vision effect. Okay, imagine the confrontation has just kicked off. The stress hits. Have you ever watched a street fight online and thought, how on earth did that guy not see that huge second punch coming? Well, the reality is, he literally probably didn't see it at all. Let's walk through this rapid biological override. Step 1, intense stress hits your system. Instantly. Step 2, your field of vision narrows dramatically. You just lose your peripheral sight. Step 3, your hearing changes. Sounds might get muffled or you zero in on one specific noise. Step 4, time starts feeling super strange, maybe slowing down to a crawl or speeding up into a blur. And finally, step 5, your brain actively sacrifices general awareness just to process the immediate life-threatening danger right in front of your face. It's a total sensory override.
Now, let's just take a breath and slow down for a second. Because knowing all of that, you might look at professional champions and think, well, they must just be built differently, right? They've got to be completely fearless. But actually, scratch that. That's a total myth. Champions are not fearless. When they step into a high-stakes situation, their heart rates still absolutely skyrocket. Their adrenaline still spikes, flooding their system exactly like yours would. They're experiencing the exact same biological stress response. So, what makes them so different?
The secret really lies in this brilliant idea right here. Experience doesn't remove fear, it removes uncertainty. This perfectly explains why experienced fighters seem so insanely calm amidst all the chaos. They aren't actually seeing more than a novice. Their brain is just filtering out less. A veteran fighter's brain has seen this specific, chaotic pattern 1,000 times before. It recognizes it, and to the human brain, what is familiar naturally feels way less dangerous. The fear is still there, for sure, but the uncertainty is gone.
And it's that lack of uncertainty that stops the nervous system from hitting that absolute freeze response.
And honestly, this completely redefines a word we throw around all the time: confidence. Normally, we think of confidence as walking into a room and believing, I'm gonna win. But when we're talking about combat and human neuroscience, confidence is actually believing that your brain won't panic when things inevitably go wrong. That is exactly why top-tier fighters can stay totally composed even after taking a massive hit to the face. They've been there. Their brain knows they survived it last time, so it doesn't treat every single mistake or every landed punch like a literal life-ending catastrophe.
Section 3. How to rewire your brain.
So, knowing all this fascinating science, the obvious question is, can you actually train yourself not to freeze? And the answer is yes, but you have to train the brain, not just the body. While you can't ever fully eliminate fear, and honestly you wouldn't want to because it keeps you sharp, you can absolutely train your brain to stop mashing the panic button. Here are some of the most effective ways to do that. Progressive sparring, where you're slowly turning up the intensity over time, reaction drills that force quick decision-making under light stress, scenario training that mimics real-world unpredictability, and above all else, repeated exposure. The main purpose here isn't just to make you physically tougher or hit harder. The real magic is that these methods actively rewrite how your brain interprets stress.
The whole shebang, the ultimate goal of all this prep, is simply teaching your brain that controlled pressure is not a life-threatening event. So next time you see someone freeze up, don't just assume they're a coward. Their brain is just doing its ancient evolutionary job. The absolute best fighters in the world aren't people who never feel fear. They're just people whose brains have learned, through intense, rigorous exposure, that pressure doesn't always equal death. That is the real game changer. It's not about raw courage or genetics or some natural-born talent. Training the mind fundamentally changes the fight long before a single punch is ever thrown.
Which brings us to our final thought today. If you're out there training right now, I want you to ask yourself, are you just hitting the heavy bag, just going through the physical motions, or are you actively teaching your brain to survive the pressure? Because let me tell you, it is a huge difference when the stakes are real.